And we welcome to the studio this morning the Democratic leader in the House of Representatives, the Speaker of the House when the Democrats had the majority there, Nancy Pelosi. Ms. Pelosi, thank you so much for coming. You know, the unemployment figures came out and they were worse than expected, as you know. Unemployment actually ticked up to 9.1%. But this was just part of the story, a series of numbers that have been really, really bad lately. The number of new jobs created, 54,000, far fewer than expected. Home prices hit a new low in the first quarter of the year. Home sales are down again. Consumer confidence is down, and gas and food prices are up. I have to say, Congresswoman, many of the experts thought the recovery would be well underway by now, but it looks like we're going backwards now, that we may be on the verge of a double-dip recession here. Do you fear that's what's happened?
Well, I think we have to take a careful look at those figures to see. The unemployment numbers are obviously very disturbing. Are they an anomaly, as some people suggest, because of the disasters in the South and the Midwest and the rest, or is this something systemic that we have to accommodate in a different way? But all of it translates into hardship for America's middle class, and they're feeling it very, very severely.
You know, Mitt Romney launched his presidential campaign in New Hampshire, and he said basically the president has made the economy worse. Let's just listen to what he said.
This is now his economy, and what he has done has failed the American people. And the borrowing and the spending and the $1.6 trillion deficit, these numbers are his. They're on his back, and it's why he's going to lose.
So aren't you and the Democrats going to have to come up to an answer to that?
Well, first of all, I don't stipulate to a set of facts that Governor Romney just said. Because the fact is that this deficit came to us largely from President Bush. But it's no use going there. We have to go forward. It's a question of what is the president and what are those who aspire to be president going to do about the future to create jobs, good-paying jobs. What are they going to do about the education of our children, the security of our seniors, the strengthening of the middle class, reducing the deficit? But
the president's been there 2.5 years. I mean, why hadn't he done that yet?
Well, he's done a great deal of it. I think if he hadn't taken the actions he did, that the situation would be worse. He pulled us from the brink of a financial crisis, from an economic crisis, and now we have to dig out of a deep debt. And we have to also make it clear that we're not getting into this situation again.
You were talking in a kind of a different way when unemployment went to 5% under George Bush. What you said then, that Americans are struggling with skyrocketing energy prices. Gas was only $3 a gallon then. And you said this is January 4th, 2008. This morning's job report confirms what most Americans already knew. President Bush's economic policies have failed our country's middle class. I mean, aren't Republicans entitled to say, you know, if gas was $3 and unemployment was 5% and the president has failed the American people, don't they have a right to say that this president has failed the American people?
Well, if you want to go into the past, we can talk about the past all you want. The public wants to know about the future. What are you going to do to create jobs, good-paying jobs in our country?
Well, what are you going to do?
Well, as I said, what the president has done has improved the situation from where it may have been.
But the fact is the Congress has been in session since January and has done basically nothing.
Well, you can talk to Mr. Boehner about that.
So it's all their fault. It's not your fault.
Well, no, I mean, they set the agenda. We have said every day that they're there. Another day goes by and there isn't a jobs agenda or a jobs bill that has come to the floor. But again, it's about how we can work together to go forward. These issues are bigger than politics. They're bigger than elections.
Well,
it's about the country that we will live in. And what you'll see in the election as we go forward is one vision of America that's encompassed in the Republican budget plan that abolishes Medicare, that makes college almost unaffordable for nearly 10 million young people in our country, that takes us deeper into debt and does not create jobs. Or you can talk about an agenda that is about making it America, investing in education, innovation, and the rest, and that's what campaigns are about. But I completely agree with you. 5 months of this new Congress, we haven't seen a jobs agenda come forth from the Republicans.
Do you think you're any closer to coming some kind of agreement with the Republicans on anything right now than say you were in January?
Well, I would certainly hope so, because
where would that be?
Well, where it has to be, and then we can work back from there, where it has to be and what the American people want from us. You keep going back to 05 and this and that, you want me to respond to that, and I respond.
I'm asking you about now.
Yeah, no, but you went back to 05. So
well, yes.
People don't want to hear about 05. They want to hear about the future. And as you know,
I think they want to hear about the now. I think they want to hear about the now. I think they want to know, why aren't you doing anything now? I mean, we keep talking about, well, we don't want to talk about the past. We got to talk about the future. But in the meantime, in between time, nothing is getting done. Nobody's agreeing with anybody on anything.
I understand that. So we're not in the majority in the House. And so you're saying to me, why haven't we brought something to the floor that create jobs? I think that's a better question asked to the Republicans because they control the agenda. But what we do have to do, and we can engineer back from there, we must not default on our loan, so we're going to have to raise the debt limit.
Moody's bond rating service warned this week that America's credit rating can be downgraded if a deal on the debt ceiling is not reached in a matter of weeks. Could you come to an agreement with the Republicans on debt reduction if they took Medicare off the table?
There is a bipartisan discussion going on that is civil and constructive, and that they've come to some areas where they can possibly reach agreement, but that nothing is agreed to until everything is agreed to. But I welcome this line of questioning, because this is a place where we are looking to how we go forward with a sound fiscal policy to reduce the deficit, I could never support any arrangement that reduced benefits for Medicare.
Right,
absolutely not.
Let me ask you a little bit about Medicare. Obviously, as we all know, the House Republicans want to replace it with government-subsidized private insurance. Can Democrats win in 2012 by just saying no to that?
I think the party is going to say to the American people, to the middle class, we want to create jobs, good-paying jobs, so that you can provide for your family. So it's about M, the middle class, about Medicare. No reduction in benefits in Medicare. And it's about make it in America, again, about jobs for the middle class, good-paying jobs for the middle class. I think that is an agenda that can win.
Don't you, let me just interrupt you a minute, don't you have to, though, give some plan or some idea of how you're going to reform Medicare? Because we all know it can't sustain as it is.
Well, we, in our health care bill, as you probably know, saved $500 billion in Medicare. We have $500 billion in savings there, which we plowed back into improved benefits for seniors in terms of prescription drugs. But even more important than that, we made it stable for about 10 years added 10 years of solvency into the future. That was a big start. The Republicans want to overturn that. That's one of the fights that we are having, because we want to have those savings to keep Medicare solvent.
It's what you're telling me you've already done what needs to be done.
Well, I think that we can give the Secretary of HHS the power to renegotiate for lower prices. That would save billions and billions and billions of dollars. I think that any fraud that is associated with Medicare has to be addressed, but that's already a given. We didn't prevail in the bill on negotiating for lower prices, but that's a very important place to go to do that. So if you're talking about lowering the cost, what ideas do people have? We have some. If you're talking about reducing the benefits, that's a non-starter.
Well, you've got some interesting days and weeks and months ahead of you,
Yes.
Ms. Pelosi. We always enjoy having you here.